Hi folks, and welcome back to Fishing with Den. Well, a couple of weeks ago we were talking about feeder fishing and the use of the line clip on a reel. And in that particular case we were talking about heavy duty feeder fishing and the fact that you might end up getting a run or a bite which tore off and you couldn't unclip in time. So on that one we used the little bit of elastic tied to the line to indicate how far out we've got to cast, and that worked really well. But that was heavy duty fishing. For all my normal fishing, I use the MAP Carptech 4000 FD reel. And I've been using these now for about 6 years, although I think originally they came out in something like 2012. About a year ago, I thought these things had been discontinued because you couldn't get hold of them. But I've just managed to get hold of 2 new ones, so it seems that deliveries are back in the shops now. So, let me show you the reel that's done all the damage to my fishing in the last 6 years. This is the reel I use for virtually everything in my fishing these days. It's designed as a size 4000 feeder reel, and of course a 4000 reel will do for the vast majority of your feeder fishing. If you're only fishing a little puddle, you might want to go to a sort of a slightly lighter one, but the 4000 size reel is the one that most people use. As I said, I've been looking lately at doing really heavy duty feeder fishing, casting weights of up to 120 grams of feeder. It's not designed for that. As I say, this is designed purely for all your normal run-of-the-mill feeder fishing on commercials with, say, feeders up to, let's guess, at sort of 45 or so grams. But the reason I use this is because of this feature here. This is the automatic clip system, the ACS. It should really be called the automatic line clip release system. So for anyone that isn't sure what we're talking about, this is a spool off I think it's a Shimano reel, and there's the normal line clip here, and the line is just clipped behind it. When you cast out, the line gets to here, hits the clip, and that works great. The problem that a lot of people find is, though, that when you get a fish in open water that can take off straight out, obviously if you're on a commercial it can only go left or right or come towards you, so you get a bit more time. But on open water, if the fish disappears away from you and the clutch is spinning, then it doesn't take all that long before it gets to the line clip. And if it's a really good fish taking off at high speed, a lot of us struggle to get the clip off undone in time and then get back in touch with the fish. And that's what leads to a lot of breakages, both of hook lengths and sometimes the whole rig. And that's why this part here, I can hold this in position for you, this little line, this little indentation in here is the automatic clip system. We've obviously got the normal clip system. I put that behind there. That's the normal clip system. It works great, no problem. But if you want to use the automatic release system, you just put the line into that horizontal part there. And what that does is, again, exactly as a normal clip, if you cast out, it hits the clip and stops. But when it's running, this actually presents itself to the bail arm in a horizontal position. So in other words, if I just move the bail arm out of the way, if I just wind some on there, when you've got a fish running, it takes line until it gets to there, and you probably can't see too well, but it pings out and it can then continue on. And that's the automatic clip system, and that's why I buy these reels. Well, that and the fact that you're looking at a 50 to 55 pound reel at today's prices. But I'll come back to more about the reel itself in a second. But this line clip has saved me so many fish over the years because it automatically unclips. Have a quick look at a couple of clips here of me catching fish that have gone off, and you might just hear a slight ping of the line clip. It's not that audible, but trust me, I would not have got those fish undone, the line clip undone on those fish in time to be of use. But have a quick look at these. Yes! That didn't really move all that much, but he's over there now, look. And he's just taken it off the line clip, that automatic clip system I was mentioning earlier on. So, oh well, that's a carp. Couldn't mistake that one, could I? So there you go. Now you've seen the benefits of the automatic clip system, or probably better called, as I said earlier, the automatic line clip release system, although that's more of a mouthful to say. But suffice it to say, it works, and it saved me so many fish over the years that I couldn't count them. And when you're looking at a £50 or £55 reel, which is what they're going for at the moment in the UK from the tackle shops, you may even be able to get them slightly cheaper if you possibly went through eBay. I didn't bother to check that, I just looked at tackle shop prices. So let's talk about the reel itself then, first of all. And these are kind of like Marmite. If you're Australian, that's probably like Vegemite, and I don't know what the American version of it is, but you either love them or you hate them. Now, if we deal with the hate problems first of all, remember these things were first introduced somewhere about 2012, and they're still going strong now, and that's what, 10 years effectively. One of the first things I heard was that somebody was complaining that the paint had peeled off around here after not very long. Well, all I can tell you is, I've had mine for 6 years. They're used day in and day out, used and abused. They're never cleaned, they're never oiled, there's never anything. I've never had any peeling of paint. Second comment I've had is they've got no guts. And by that I assume they mean cranking power to either crank in a feeder or to reel in a big fish. Well, again, I can only tell you my experience. I've had a lot of big fish on this reel, including some 20 pounders and one up to 26 pounds. And I've never felt that I was underpowered in any way. Because remember, this is a 4,000 size reel. You're not looking at some sort of big pit reel or something like that. This is just a normal 4,000 size reel. So I'm happy that we've got enough cranking power on this. And the other thing, of course, is if that person was talking about cranking in 120 gram feeders, well, you shouldn't be using this reel to crank in 120 gram feeders. But I am guilty of that. Before I bought the heavy duty reel I'm using now, I've been using this and abusing it for quite some time. I've had 10-pound drag line on it, which is something like 0.30 millimeters in diameter, and I've been casting out 100, 120 gram feeders and so on, and it's done a great job. It wasn't designed for that. It isn't great at that, but it did it. It did kind of make a bit of noise as I reeled in at times with the heavy duty feeder on it, but as I say, it's not designed for that, so I'm not going to worry about it. Suffice it to say, even though I've used and abused that reel, it's still in use day to day on my other rods. One other comment, I heard that there may be plastic gears inside. I suspect if there are plastic gears inside, they're going to be nylon, and if there are, I would say to the manufacturers, well done guys, because I've cranked and reeled on this thing for 6 years. I've never had any issues, and again, this is a new one, but all of my other reels still do that. No oil, no cleaning, no nothing, because I'm not very good at cleaning my reels. Most of them are covered in ground bait and fish slime. There is one comment on the ACS clip itself, and that is that sometimes it can, if I unclip that a second, it can actually, in fact let me do it on one of these ones. It can actually unclip itself, and that's when the bail arm goes back and it just pulls itself out of the clip. But there is an easy answer to that, and that is this, blue tack. What you do, I didn't invent this by the way, a friend of mine showed me this. You get the tiniest little piece of blue tack, and let's do it on this one here. It hasn't got any on at the moment. Into the slot, just force it in, and then take the line, and all I do is just use it like a cheese wire, just to cut in, and then keep pushing down until it's all inside the horizontal slot there. Again, pull out, push in a few times, difficult to show you and see what I'm doing at the same time. Just do that for a couple of minutes and you'll end up with this situation here. Let's see if I can get you a real good close-up on that. You may be able to just see there's a tiny little amount of blue tack sticking out. And all that does, it gives you just that little bit of extra stick. And so I never had, once I'd done that, I never had any more problems with that line clip coming undone. So we talked about the bad side of this reel, the Marmite side. But even so, I've never experienced any of those issues apart from this one with the line clip, like I just explained. On the good side, you get the double handle, but, and this is unusual, you also get a single handle in the box, so you can have either or. You also get 2 spools with it. Now, on a lot of reels at the £50 range at the moment, yep, the reel and the spool is £50, and then you have to buy an additional spool that's anything up to about £20. So your £50 reel is now looking at something like £70. The spools themselves have a full-length skirt on them. Not like some of these other reels. Now this is off a big pit reel, but you can see how this is a fairly short skirt compared to this, and this is a far larger spool. And what that means is that when the spool oscillates to the furthest travel, you don't have a gap between the reel body and the spool, because that's where you get tangles. And in fact, that reel that I've just bought for heavy duty fishing does exactly that, and I hate that. But this is great. Oh, the clutch, by the way, again, on the expensive reel I've just bought, that has literally almost on, medium on, and hard on in 3 clicks. This one, you get a lot more variation, so you've got a lot better control, in my view, of the playing of the fish. And the other thing I find with this clutch is it's really responsive. With some reels, it seems that first of all there's an initial resistance or inertia, so that when the fish is taking line, you're sort of pulling, and then all of a sudden it starts to give. Well, this one gives straight away, and it gives line smoothly and evenly throughout the time the fish wants to take it. You will find inside as well, if I just take this off a second, you can see those 2 red washers. They actually sit down here like that, but they're for line lay. You can leave them both on, you can take one off or take both off, and that will determine how the line lays. Depending on which one you leave on or take off, you may have the line in a cone from the back, or you can have a flat spread or whatever. That's a personal thing which you may decide for yourself. The only downside to these spools is they're kind of deep. There you go, look. It does say, and I can't read it properly on here because it's almost illegible, but it says it takes 170 yards of 6-pound line. What it doesn't say about the 6-pound line is what the diameter is, because I've seen 6-pound line at sort of, I don't know, 0.18 or something like that, and my 6-pound drag line is 0.25. So I do find that I tend to have to put a little bit of backing on these things, but that's not a big problem. I've pretty much done that a lot in the past as well, but it does take a good amount of line, and at the moment I'm using 8-pound drag line, which is 0.28 in diameter. In terms of the bail arm, it's a good chunky bail arm. It's got the usual line roller on it. It's actually very thick for some reels I've seen, but it's also positive. There's no halfway sort of thing where it kind of gets stuck or whatever. It's either on or it's off, and that's it. And it works really, really well. So that's the MAP Carptech 4000 FD reel that I use all the time. I use it for feeder fishing and I use it for float fishing because I love them. I've got 5 now, by the way. But they also do another version, which is this one. This is the sister to it, called the FS version, and this is, I presume it's free spool, it's a bait runner. does exactly the same as the FD version, but although this is a 4000, to be honest, if you look at the two sizes together, it's actually quite small. It's more for me like a 3000 size reel. As I say, all my comments about everything else are the same, but I tend not to use that one because I find it a bit small. To give you an example, these are the two spools, and you can see that they are actually smaller on the FS reel. But people like them. They're still being produced after 10 years along with the FD reel, and that's kind of a testament to itself. Probably would be nice if they updated a couple of little things, like with the sort of a shallower spool, that kind of thing. But hey, for 50 odd pounds, I've got the ACS clip, I'm not losing fish, and that's really all I'm interested in. So hope you found that useful, guys. By all means, if you hate these reels, don't buy them. I've been using them for a long time and I find them to be excellent reels. So really, that's about it for this video. And of course, it's Christmas. So if you want to go out and grab one before Christmas, please feel free to do so. And also, if you enjoyed this video, as always, click the like button. If you want to subscribe, you can do that too. And until the next time, Merry Christmas.